for doing that. It's
What's
better
that?
than having to do another day. I couldn't do it in sweaters. Are we all on mute?
I don't know if I could do that anymore if I wanted to. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call the August 4th, 2026 McLeod County Board of Commissioners meeting to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Again, good morning, everyone. Consideration of agenda items. Any corrections or additions?
I have one change, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
I'm going to ask to remove item 7A under employee relations.
So it's actually 7 altogether, right? We're not having.
Correct.
Any other corrections or additions? Hearing
No other
none,
changes.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda. Motion made by Commissioner Wright. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Dahl. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, and motion carries. Consent agenda.
No changes, Mr. Chair.
Wishes of the board?
Move to approve.
Motion made by Commissioner Wright to approve the consent agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Dahl. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and motion carries. Extension. We have a nice,
Well, good morning, everyone. Really excited to have the opportunity to be here this morning. We kind of have two main things we want to just bring to your attention today. First, we're just going to provide just a brief overview of some of the activities we've done over the last year, but probably more importantly, we're going to highlight our 2026 McLeod County Farm Family of the Year. So first off, we were talking about this before we got here, but it's been 4 years since we started the partnership, combining Wright, McLeod, and Meeker County in terms of extension. And it's been a great pleasure to kind of watch that unfold. Before that, I was the lone extension educator covering horticulture, crops, and livestock. And since that move, I can say for myself, it's been a great pleasure to be able to extend the offering that we've been able to do in all three of those areas. So I believe you got a handout in your packet this morning that just goes over some highlights that we've been able to do over the last year. And this is specifically for McLeod County. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this today just because I think we need to spend our focus on our Farm Family of the Year. But if you see anything on here that you have questions on or are talking to your constituents and you have items that are popping up that are common concerns that you're seeing, let us know at the office. We'd love to be able to help extend those educational offerings so we can get ahead of some of those issues that might be popping up across the county. With that, if there's no questions about that handout, I'm going to pass it over to my colleague, Taylor, and she's going to introduce our 2026 McLeod County Farm Family of the Year.
All right, thank you. Like Karen said, my name's Taylor Herbert. I am the crops focused extension educator here. And today, I have the great honor to present the Farm Family of the Year. The University of Minnesota Farm Family Recognition Program honors farm families from across Minnesota for their significant contributions to the agriculture industry and to their local communities. The program has honored Minnesota farmers since 1979 and is coordinated by the University of Minnesota Extension as well as the College of Food, Agriculture, and Natural Resource Science and the College of Veterinary Medicine. Each honored family is chosen, one per county, by local University of Minnesota Extension committees based on their demonstrated commitment to the communities and to enhancing and supporting agriculture. So it is now my honor to present the 2026 McLeod County Farm Family of the Year, the Otto family of Lester Prairie. If you guys want to stand up. The Otto family farm began in 1857 when Henry and Matilda Otto established the homestead. Today, Greg and Heidi Otto continue the legacy as the 5th generation farming the land, and they farm alongside their children, Tyler, Trent, Nathan, and Heather, The family has a cow-calf operation and finished beef cattle. They also grow row crops including corn, soybeans, and wheat. The family keeps a focus on environmental stewardship in their operation and use practices designed to control water runoff and nutrient retention and adhere to manure management plans with their expanding cattle operation. In addition, they operate a custom chopping, combining, and manure hauling business that employs several additional workers that they describe as family. The entire family is involved in their community. They volunteer at their local breakfast on the farm and at Winstock Country Music Festival. Members of the family are also currently involved in, or have been involved in, the Howard Lake Waverly Winstead FFA and their local 4-H beef program. Heidi has also served on the local Farm Service Agency Committee as well. So congratulations to our 2026 McLeod County Farm Family of the Year.
Do you want to say anything?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I just want to, I want to thank whoever nominated us. We appreciate it, but we're also humbled because there's numerous farm families across the state that are worthy of the recognition just as much as we are. So, thank you. Anybody else?
Come on.
All right. Any questions from the board?
Just congratulations. I mean, I know your operation, and it's always a pleasure to see a real family operation in progress, and guys are doing a great job, so again, congratulations.
Couple of comments. I think a couple of you have actually driven chopper in my field before. And I remember the first year where we made the decision to hire autos to come in, I had to give Greg a call and commend him as to how well organized their efforts are and how safe they kept everybody. They're constantly on the radios talking, I'm over here, you know, and I was just really impressed with their work ethic and their style and how well they treat their customers. I had to make sure and mention that. You guys do a heck of a good job, so thank you for doing what you do.
Anyone
Mr.
else?
Chair,
Go ahead.
when I heard that the Otto family was going to be honored this morning, I was very excited and very pleased that it's someone in my neighborhood, someone that I can call my neighbors. And what Taylor expressed as far as community involvement and volunteering, she hit on a lot of points, but it even goes deeper than that. I mean, not just your generation, but the generations before you. Multi-generational farm is a very, how should I say, a very good distinction in today's economy in the world that we live in. So I congratulate you, and I appreciate having you as my friend and neighbor, and wish you much success in the future. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, I'm going to go a different direction. Kids, I want to ask you one question. I'm sorry to put you on the spot, but what's your favorite thing to do on the farm? One of you can go first.
I like shopping. I'll help with anything, but I like shopping.
Okay.
Business, so.
I like when the cows are coming with all the cows, like their babies.
Oh, okay.
I like when everything's moving and everything's running out.
No breakdowns on the day.
Right.
I like fall harvest and everything going to the field, moving.
Okay.
Harvesting.
Perfect. Thank you. I love all the answers. They're all different.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
I'll add one last thing. As a family, and they're well-connected, and they're communicating back and forth, I wonder what goes through Greg's head when he gets the call and someone says, something's not working.
Usually that's what I say, I need my head examined. I think that's a trend when you go fix it.
Yeah, I know that it takes a lot of work to keep the machines running. You run an extensive shop. I don't think there's anything you can't repair. and you try to do it all on your own, and I'm very appreciative of that and that work ethic that you and your family have.
Mr. Chair,
What?
if we could do a photo of the board with the farm family, since the family is larger this year, which is great.
Yeah.
That helps on the farm. Just if you could all stand against the or this here.
Yep.
The dais, and then if all of you just wanna come right in the front with Karen and Taylor too, please.
Some of them are kind of tall.
Yeah, they are.
What's the first job when you get back? Who's grabbing the chopper?
You guys gotta go to the Farm Fest? When is that?
Thursday. Thursday.
All right. Auditor Treasurer Janet, good morning.
I'm asking for consideration of the approval of the joint powers agreement between the state of Minnesota and McLeod County. The Office of the Secretary of State has released the JPA between the state of Minnesota, acting through its Secretary of State and the government units. Pursuant to Minnesota Rules, Part 8235.0200, the state shall designate all government units who enter into this agreement as a recount official for the purposes of conducting any recount required under Minnesota Statute 204C.35 related to the August 2026 state primary election. The governmental unit shall perform the recount of any votes cast in the county in which the government unit is the county auditor treasurer and in any additional jurisdictions mutually agreed upon by the governmental unit and the state. The governmental unit shall conduct the recount in accordance with all applicable Minnesota laws and rules, as well as any additional information or guidance the state provides. The governmental unit shall begin the recount as soon as permitted under Minnesota law and shall continue until either all ballots in the jurisdictions are counted or designated as challenged or an election contest is filed. And any of these elections, and the court takes jurisdiction of the matter, whichever comes first. The recount shall be completed pursuant to any deadlines required under law, and if no deadline exists, as soon as practicable. Any questions?
Janet, this is kind of, I don't want to call it boilerplate, but this is the same as we do.
Correct.
Pretty much, there's no changes to your knowledge.
That is correct. We do this every 2 years when we have a state election. That way, if there was a recount on any state or federal election, our ballots would stay here in McLeod. If we don't enter into this agreement, we'd have to go upon somebody that did enter into a JPA for the recount purposes of any state and federal offices.
Very good. Any questions from the board?
I don't have any questions, but I'll move to approve.
Motion made by Commissioner Chaska to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Schmalz. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
And then my second request is the same exact request, except for this is for the general election. So again, that would take practice as soon as practicable, which is actually later than what the August election would be with timing. So it'd be towards, if we had a recount, the end of November, beginning of December.
Okay, the only question I have is there's nothing really different in it other than it's a different,
Different agreement, one for the primary, one for the general.
very good. Questions from the board?
I just have one question. We're talking about letter C now, right? We skipped over B. Because B is to approve you. Right?
I think B
No,
is,
that was B, I believe, Mr. Chair.
it's asterisk, the asterisk is on A and on B. I don't know exactly. That's a good catch. I didn't catch it either.
So B is just the consider of approval that you guys just did on the primary. And then C is the second request that I just started. I think the
Oh, all right. So you
label.
read
That's
A and then we
basically just
approved B.
The name is.
Okay, I got it.
Again, wishes of the board then it would actually be C.
Correct.
I can move to approve that request as well.
Motion made by Commissioner Chaska
I'll second.
and seconded by Commissioner Dahl to approve the joint powers agreement. I'm just trying to give the original name here, the recount name within the joint powers agreement. I guess that doesn't matter, so, motion's been made and seconded, without any more discussion, calling the question, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Perfect, thank you. And just a
Thank you.
reminder, Election Day, state primary is next Tuesday, August 11th. Polls open at 7 a.m. and close at 8 p.m. Go vote.
Janet, while you're up here, has there been much on the early voting? I mean,
No, our numbers are what I expect so far.
Oh,
It's been
okay.
very light. It has picked up this week. We hope that that continues. Early voting is open now and through Monday, August 10th, and we are open on Saturday from 9 to 3. So,
Very
and so
good.
is the city of Hutch for those residents that live within the boundaries of the city.
thank you.
Yep.
Sheriff's Office, good morning.
Morning. I have a request that you consider adopting Resolution 26 CB 20, authorizing Sergeant Kyle Jorgensen of the McLeod County Sheriff's Office to be the fiscal agent and administer the Towards Zero Deaths Grant on behalf of McLeod County for the period of October 1st, 2026 to September 30th, 2027.
Wishes of the board or questions?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
I'll move Resolution 26 CB 20.
Motion made by Commissioner Schmalz, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Wright. Now, this is a program that's been going on for a number of years, and there's nothing really changing other than I'll call it the leadership role in the sheriff's department, but
So last year was the first year in many years that the sheriff's office took over the fiscal agent role for it. Prior to that, an officer with Glencoe PD was the
Okay.
fiscal administrator of it, and the city of Glencoe was the administrative fiscal agent. Before that, I believe it was Hutch, and then the sheriff's office, it dates back to probably the late 2000s, early 2010s, when the sheriff's office had it prior to that. But Sergeant Jorgensen was the fiscal agent last year and ran the program.
oh, good to know. I didn't actually even know that. So this Towards Zero Death works through all the PDs in McLeod County then?
Yep, so this is the enforcement grant, part of the Towards Zero Deaths program. And this provides federal dollars funneled to the state that are then allocated through this grant to the local fiscal agent. And the sheriff's office administers that, and it includes officers from Hutchinson, Glencoe, in the past Broughton, Winstead, and Lester Prairie. So our we're the fiscal agent for all of that. And then Sergeant Jorgensen puts together, figures out the amount of money that we get through the grant, and divvies that up throughout all the officers and deputies through in the county that want to work that extra enforcement.
I know I hear during the year different programs that are implemented by the sheriff's or even the Minnesota Highway Patrol. Is that something that you guys all work together on, or is that kind of separate?
No, we do work together on that. There's a lot of different traffic saturation enforcement events during holiday seasons, Memorial Day, Labor Day, Independence Day. There's extra enforcement that's paid for through this grant, through the federal dollars. So there's not an expense directly to the county taxpayers, and we get to reap the benefits of the extra enforcement and that. So you see the extra squads on the road.
Very good. Wishes of the board. We did have, okay. So is there any more questions or discussion? Obviously not. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thanks,
Thank you.
Jeff.
Have a good day.
Number 7, we have taken off of the agenda, so we'll move to Health and Human Services. Barrett, good morning.
Good morning. I have 2 items for you today. The first is to consider approving the agreement with Buffalo Lake Hector School District, number 2159, to provide transportation for children in foster care placement for the period of July 1st, 2026 through June 31st, 2028. This is a contract renewal. Transportation services will be provided by the district for services for students that can be transported to school on an existing route and/or for students who have an individualized education plan, also known as an IEP, indicating the need for specialized transportation. The district and McLeod County agree to split the cost of transportation, including but not limited to staff time and third-party carriers as appropriate. Mileage reimbursement will be the current IRS rate.
Questions and wishes from the board for Barrett? I mean, this is, I guess, this is what we've done this for a long time, I remember.
Correct, yeah.
I know, and then early on, there was some logistical things that we ironed out, but I think it's pretty much laid out here for, I mean, I don't know what the percentage difference is from the school district, or if it's an even split, I have no idea.
Yep, we pay half.
Half.
McLeod County pays half, yep.
Mr. Chair, I just have a general question. So, they go into foster care, then who lines up this transportation? Do we do that, or the school does that, or?
It's a combination of, it could be both, yep.
Okay.
It's usually, obviously, if they are in a foster family, then they would have a case manager with us. The goal is to always keep the children in the school district, which they are accustomed to. That's why we have this agreement. So it could be a combination, but generally it would be the case manager that's working with that family or that child.
Okay, thank you.
Wishes of the board?
Move to approve.
Motion made by Commissioner Dahl to approve the agreement. Is there a second? I'll second it. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you. Item B, consider approving the bylaws of the McLeod County Mental Health Local Advisory Committee. McLeod County is required to establish a local, I don't think it should say adult, local mental health advisory committee, either independently or in collaboration with other counties in accordance with Minnesota statutes. The council must include diverse community representation, a minimum of a consumer, family member, mental health professional, and community support provider, and meet quarterly to review and make recommendations. Commissioner Nathan Schmalz is currently a member of this committee. While McLeod County has had an established LAC for some time, formal bylaws have not been in place. The McLeod County Mental Health LAC met on April 3rd, 2026, where it reviewed and approved the proposed bylaws. The proposed bylaws being forward today are intended to formalize the council's structure and operations, ensuring compliance with statutory requirements while promoting accountability, transparency, and continuity in its work. This request was originally brought to the McLeod County Board at its May 5th, 2026 meeting, at which time the board requested that the proposed bylaws be reviewed further by the county attorney's office to ensure compliance. That review has been completed. As a result, the meetings have moved to the third Friday of each month to allow for commissioner committee appointments to be established at the first meeting of each year.
A question for you, Barrett, is this is new now, right? This is, or the bylaws, were they restructured, or they're all brand new, right?
The bylaw, we've never had bylaws
Never had?
before. We've had an established committee for a long time. And through conversations with other LACs, it was realized that we need bylaws. And so the bylaws have mimicked other counties. County Attorney's Office has reviewed, made some adjustments to that, and now we feel we're in a good space to ask for approval.
And I guess I'm gonna ask Attorney Hench and Commissioner Smalls just to comment, being they were both involved in the process.
Sure, and I guess from the county attorney's office's standpoint, we reviewed these bylaws. We did recommend some changes. We tried to incorporate some suggestions from the commissioner that's on the committee, as well as from the committee members and Human Services. So really, it's just best practices to have these bylaws in place. It largely reflects a lot of what the committee was already doing, but it clarifies what roles are and kind of what the committee ought to be doing. So I've had an opportunity to review them. I recommend that the board approve them if there aren't any additional questions. And, you know, while these are fairly routine, we did have a fair amount of correspondence just to try to get them right. So there's been a fair amount of review that's went into these.
Thank you. Commissioner Smalls?
Mr. Chair, as stated, I'm part of the LAC committee, and back in April was the first time Leah Lundgren presented the bylaws for our review at LAC. At that particular meeting in April, we did come up with some edits that we thought were appropriate, and Leah made those changes, and at that time then it was forwarded to the county attorney's office for review. And we did see it, I think, in May in front of the board, and we referred it back to the county attorney for further review to make sure that we had everything, you know, the way we wanted it as McLeod County. So I will say that, you know, it's not going to be a perfect document. This is our first bylaws that we're adopting here and we're doing that, as the county attorney stated, to satisfy state statutes. So it won't be perfect, but at the same time, it's a really good start for us, and we can come up with an annual review as we need to make changes to it. I've reviewed it thoroughly myself, and I think I can recommend that we approve these bylaws as presented today. And Mr. Chairman, I'll make that a motion.
Excuse me, motion made by Commissioner Smalls to approve the bylaws. Is there a second? I will second it. Discussion.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So, this is a committee, and it's got its own bylaws underneath McLeod County, and I'm seeing in here compensation written into the bylaws, and I'm wondering if that's appropriate or not, or if that should be dictated by the policies of the county for all committees. Just a question. I don't know if it should be in there or not in there.
Is it compensation, what is that actually, what is that, I don't want to say mean, but what does that cover? I mean, that's not like per diem, or that's compensation for the programs that are being implemented?
And Ms. Spores, maybe you can speak to that as far as that compensation. Is it reimbursed, or where are those funds coming from? I know I spoke with Leah to that to some degree.
So that would be for being, we have to have a variety of people on the committee, mental health practitioner, you know, community members. That's the stipend that they would get for attending those meetings if they were they attended those meetings.
I understand that, Barrett.
Yep.
My question is, does it belong inside this document, is my question? Or what if the policies of McLeod County change for all committees, then what? We go back and we
I
rewrite
actually
this?
understand, Commissioner Dahl, because that's a good catch as well. I don't know that it's a policy, maybe not a bylaw. I agree with that, because policies are easier to change than bylaws.
Right?
I don't have it in front of me right now. What does it say regarding compensation? Does it s-
Something like $50 plus mileage per
Okay.
IRS guidelines
Okay.
or something.
Under the membership reimbursement.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I thought, that just seemed odd to be in this document.
And if I could, and Baird, please feel free to correct me, but my understanding is part of the reason why it likely was included in this document is the stipends, the funding for this comes from a title, it's a Title 20/VCAA block grant. So that's the funding. So it's not, county dollars that are providing for these stipends. So, I mean, I don't know if that changes anything in your view or not as far as, how policy would interact with that, but, you know, at least the mechanism of is there going to be a stipend or not ought to be in the bylaws. Now, whether it would be refer to some other table or policy, or whether it provides the amount, I mean, that's maybe 6 of one, half a dozen of another. There's not a right or wrong, it's just a policy decision of what you'd prefer. But I would just note that, you know, the funding source here isn't actually county dollars or levy dollars, it's from that grant that ultimately covers those fees.
Mr. Chair, and to add on with Attorney Hanch's statement, many of those grants require those amounts to be somewhere in order for them to be able to be paid. So what we could do
Right.
is if the board would be comfortable, they could approve this and just ask that you, Commissioner Schmalz and Barrett, bring it back to the committee to say if you could add that in policy later and remove it from the bylaws next time you need an approval, just to say that it would be the amount and not in the bylaws. I think that might be fit. But like you said, it doesn't get paid out from McLeod County funding.
Right.
It's a grant fund.
And I could just add, one of the things that I think Commissioner Schmalz and I discussed, and I certainly with Human Services, is in the initial draft, it didn't necessarily, it read as if the bylaws could be amended by the committee itself, without necessarily coming back for board approval. We changed that so that if there is an amendment, there would need to be board approval. So what you're approving today will remain in place unless and until the board would act to change it. So there is that direct oversight. The committee can't change this themselves and, without board knowledge or consent.
You've answered my question, Ryan, because now that I understand that this is fully paid by a grant, then it should be in the bylaws, because it isn't dollars from the county. So I would agree that it should be in there now.
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
To help with this discussion, I think when Leah first presented it, the stipend was one of the stumbling blocks that we came upon early on. And it wasn't that there shouldn't be a stipend, it was the amount. And I likened it like some of our other committees or citizen appointments that come in and serve. Now, we probably didn't get to that level. We started out at a much lower level, but at the same time, out of respect for those people who are volunteering their time and taking 2 or 3 hours out of their day, certainly a stipend seemed appropriate.
Oh, yeah.
And that's kind of where we fell. It probably doesn't quite match, what some of our other committees pay, but it definitely was a step above where we started. If that helps anyone, I hope it does.
It poses a question to me now, just because, something I really didn't think of, thank you, Commissioner Dahl, but, I've seen it in other committees where the grants don't come, and we have responsibilities to do. Does that then turn it back to the county? Which I'm not necessarily opposed to, because of the importance of mental health. But, I mean, how, where's the roadmap to do that with? I think this is a good, I trust Attorney Hench, and it's a starting point, but I guess it's more of a discussion on, because I've seen there's a lot of places we get grants that either pay for or add on stipends to the committee members, but then they have
Yeah.
dried up, and the importance of what we're doing still was there. So
I can touch
Go
on that.
ahead.
So a couple of things. So McLeod County is considered the mental health authority for the county, so we do have that responsibility. If we were to not receive this block grant, we wouldn't be able to do the work that we do. It's a substantial amount of money that we have in order to carry out our work. So obviously, we would have to look at that. And that would be a reason would assume we would take a look at those bylaws, right?
Again, good discussion, so then
Yeah.
it would then be, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves, but then it would be blended back into Health and Human Services and not as a mental health committee.
We would have to consider that.
Is there a
yes.
policy for this committee as well?
No,
Okay. Okay.
those bylaws.
So this
yeah.
is kind of the operating
Yep.
procedure besides bylaws policy, all right. And all those were, just kind of cautions, a good discussion, I thought.
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
No, hopefully I can wrap up this discussion a little bit and remind us that we're only an advisory committee. We have no authority other than being an advisory committee to the McLeod County Board of Commissioners.
And, I took that as an understanding a little earlier now that, because any decisions having to do with what we're just discussing rolls back to the county board. Is that correct? Attorney Hench, you kind of mentioned that they can't make the changes on their own. The protection is it rolls back to the county board.
Right, I mean, the committee itself is designed for the purpose of,
Absolutely.
providing that advice or context to the board. I mean, there's a number of things that the committee might discuss that falls to the day-to-day work of the actual department.
Right.
The department's out here dealing with, mental health issues and all that that entails as part of its day-to-day tasks, every day. So, not everything of what services should we provide this individual, or do they need more services, things like that, doesn't come to the board. The department deals with that. But yes, as far as the committee, and its advisory role, it's for the benefit of the board. It really doesn't carry with it any powers other than, just kind of that persuasive ability to provide information.
No, and thank you, and most grants that are applied for, correct me if I'm wrong, Barry, but they're outlined on what they do and what you can spend the money on and what they have to do, and I was just coming out of, because of Commissioner Dahl's question, anything that would vary from that, or if a grant would dry up, it would have to come back to the board, and it wouldn't be something that
Yes.
you would handle, no, and I'm satisfied with that.
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
One last comment, and as we look at doing the LAC in our own county, there also is a cooperation that exists with the Southwest 18 and also Pact for Families, and how those mental health resources can combine and do better work within our region and our member counties. So there's that component that exists as well.
And again, I wasn't trying to micromanage into the day-to-day business. I was just looking at the overall picture of, because they've been doing fine, and I do, not always but I know how grants work and how you apply for them, and they're pretty much structured on what you have to do. I just a little concerned if
Sure.
some of them didn't reach, because mental health is quite an issue these days in more than one way.
Just a note, even though this is called a grant, it's really an allocation that we get from the
Sure.
Department of Human Services.
Yeah.
We don't apply for it. It's an amount that we get on an annual basis.
Right.
Mr. Chair, I want to point out one more inconsistency that Commissioner Chachka alerted me to. In the final paragraph, it says the last sentence says the meetings have been moved to the third Friday of each month. I don't think, that's incorrect, I believe. We do not meet monthly, the third
Quarterly.
Friday of each month. We meet quarterly. So I don't
think,
want
yeah.
anybody to have a misconception about, you know, our meeting times, how often we meet, and the way it's stated. So
Sure.
that should state that we meet quarterly.
Mr. Chair, we'll adjust that in the minutes so that the public can look that up if they need to, or give us a call. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good catch.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, good discussion. Call the question. All in favor of the agreements, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Bylaws are imposed.
Thank you.
Attorney's office, Attorney Hench.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have one item today, item number 9A, which is consider adopting Resolution 26CB21, a resolution supporting the participation of McLeod County in the First Judicial District Veterans Treatment Court. So what I'd like to do is read the proposed resolution, and then I would invite, there's a couple of others that would be involved in this Veterans Court program that are here today, including Sean McMonagle from the Department of Corrections and Ms. Kerrigan from Veteran Services. So I'd invite them up to the podium, and we can provide some additional information to the board. As you'll recall, we had this item on a workshop last month. So the proposed resolution. To support the participation of McLeod County in the First Judicial District Veterans Treatment Court. Whereas a Veterans Court uses legal and social resources instead of solely incarceration and probation to create effective programs for clients. And whereas a Veterans Court emphasizes social engagement and responsibility while providing strict supervision over clients and utilizing a range of immediate sanctions, incentives, and therapeutic responses to encourage behavior changes that result in a more positive future for clients. And whereas, according to the Minnesota Judicial Branch, specialty courts are effective at reducing recidivism, producing healthier, law-abiding citizens, improving public safety by reducing crime in the community, and saving taxpayer dollars. And whereas, McLeod County has the support and active participation from a number of partners, including First Judicial District judges, Minnesota Department of Corrections, McLeod County Attorney's Office, and McLeod County's Veteran Services Office. And whereas, starting May of 2024, the First Judicial District Veterans Treatment Court was expanded in scope to include every county within the First Judicial District, which includes Carver, Dakota, Scott, Goodhue, Le Sueur, Sibley, and McLeod. And whereas the Board of Commissioners in and for the County of McLeod, Minnesota, that the McLeod County Board of Commissioners supports participation in a Veterans Court program in McLeod County. And whereas McLeod County actively supports its veterans via its Veteran Services Office, its community outreach programs such as Beyond the Yellow Ribbon and the Veteran Spotlight Radio Program, and the McLeod County Veterans Transportation Program. And now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners in and for the County of McLeod, Minnesota, supports McLeod County's participation in the First Judicial District Veterans Treatment Court, passed by the Board of Commissioners of McLeod County, Minnesota, this 4th day of August 2026, signed by Mr. Kruger, Board Chair. So if I could have the others come up, and then just to provide a bit of context, I know I shared some of this information in the workshop. However, not all of that information was publicly available to those that didn't attend. I just want to give a brief kind of synopsis of what treatment courts are and what this Vets Court program would consist of. And I want to remind the board, today the only ask is for the resolution and support. There are no costs, direct costs associated to the county with this ask for support or this resolution. There may be some in-kind costs associated with the supervision from probation or from support from Veteran Services, but there would not be a budget line item, and we can talk about those other things, when questions arise. But there would be no direct costs otherwise to the county. So Veterans Treatment Court. What is a treatment court? Treatment courts are an innovative response by criminal justice advocates who recognize that not all justice-involved persons are best served through the traditional criminal court system. Veterans have sacrificed for and served our country. This commitment merits recognition and a deeper understanding related to the impact their military service has and continues to have upon not only themselves, but their families as well. Upon return from military service, some veterans may struggle with their transition to civilian life. Many veterans battle serious mental health conditions such as anxiety, depression, traumatic brain injury, and post-traumatic stress as an outgrowth of their service. Some veterans also face additional challenges of substance use disorders, trauma, strained relationships, unemployment, and homelessness. Oftentimes, these latent and unaddressed issues become factors that result in a veteran's involvement in the criminal justice system. The first Judicial District Veterans Treatment Court was born out of the need for justice-involved veterans in our communities to have the opportunity to access treatment and services for their mental health and substance use disorders while enrolled in an intensely supervised judicial program. And when we look at what some of those needs are, I mean, there's statistics that bear this out, and to just name a few, 1 in 5 veterans have symptoms of a mental health disorder or cognitive impairment. 1 in 6 Iraq and Afghanistan veterans have a substance use disorder. 50% of veterans living with PTSD do not receive treatment, and there are approximately 181,000 veterans that are currently incarcerated in U.S. jails or prisons. So the way this would work is when someone comes to be involved in our criminal justice system and they're identified as a veteran here in McLeod County, they would be screened for possible eligibility and participation into this Veterans Court program. If they're high need, if there's needs that, could be addressed through that Veterans Court programming, where those additional resources would be a benefit to them that they may not receive in the traditional, criminal justice system process, they'd likely be referred as part of a resolution or plea agreement in their case to participate in Veterans Court. Oftentimes, that will result in a plea that would help them avoid some of the collateral consequences that a traditional conviction might entail, but they have to earn it. On average, it takes over a year to complete this Veterans Court programming, and it includes more intense supervision, more meetings with court hearings, more meetings with probation. So it's an alternative treatment court model where they do have incentive to participate, but it's not the easy road or the easy path. It takes a lot of work. So what it entails as far as not only my office identifying these folks and referring them, as well as the other prosecuting authorities in the county, the city attorneys, for individuals that are put into Veterans Court, ultimately they will be supervised by the Department of Corrections, and I'll let Sean talk a little bit about that. This is a district-wide program, but we'd be offering local resources. To the extent someone participates, they're required to have a local veteran mentor from our community, and that would be local as well. So I'll ask Cassandra a little bit to talk about how our Vet Services Office is helping identify, train those mentors, and put people in touch. And to the extent there is transportation needed for this district-wide program, our Vet Services Office has worked to secure that as well. So I'd ask those folks to, just describe a little bit about what their roles would be. And then if you have any questions for any of us, just interrupt, or there'll certainly be time afterwards. So if either one of you could speak to your role.
Sure. So for the Veteran Service Office, like Ryan had mentioned, our office runs a transportation program. It has primarily been used to bring veterans to their VA scheduled appointments, whether that's at a VA medical center or at a facility that the VA is sending the veteran to. I had asked the McLeod County Veterans Association, who oversees that transportation, if they would be willing to allow us to open it up to also transport veterans to treatment court twice a month. They were hands down on board with it, as long as you guys were okay with it. I do not see that it would be a constraint on our transportation program. We've got several vehicles and several drivers, and I think this is a worthy cause to add on to that program. In addition, our office would follow these veterans to ensure that they are getting the services that they need and have earned through either the federal government, state government, local nonprofit organizations to help them get back up on their feet and out of the situation that they are in. We are also helping identify the mentors. Like Ryan had mentioned, the mentors need to be a veteran because veterans can relate to other veterans. So we are identifying some that may be potential good people within our county that want to do this. We had 2 identified. I have 1 now. The other person moved out of the county, so we are actively seeking and looking for veterans within our area who would be willing to volunteer and be a mentor and help these justice-involved veterans. Once we have identified them, they have to go through a background check that will be done through Scott County, and they will be linked up with a mentor coordinator that's also through Scott County. And then that coordinator is the one that makes sure that they get all of their training done and that they are doing the steps that they need with their justice-involved veteran.
I know when we started having these conversations about the Veterans Court, one of the things that I really wanted to do was try to keep supervision local and keep a lot of the resources local. So we would be supervising these justice-involved veterans and participating in the Veterans Court locally out of our office here in Glencoe. One of the agents that I have is a veteran, and she is very excited about taking this on and supervising this program. Just as was already discussed, veterans can relate better to other veterans, and having a veteran on my team who's working here in Glencoe who really is excited about taking this on and working with the Veterans Treatment Court is, I think, a perfect match. So my office we would supervise the veterans as the probation side, monitor those conditions, monitor their progress through the program, work with them, work hand in hand with other local resources as part of this treatment program, making sure those drug tests are happening, treatments happening, kind of following them from the start to the finish, and really just kind of what I've seen before when I've worked with other veterans treatment programs. It's a team, it's a community kind of helping these veterans make those steps to succeed, but also holding them accountable along the way if they tend to maybe fall or mess up. So it's a good program. It's a really, once it's up and running, I'd encourage all of you to attend, because I think you would really get a lot out of attending those meetings, especially those graduations, where you see just a community of people standing behind a veteran who's made a lot of changes in their life to get from point A to point B, where there's been all these changes, where they're in a much better place from when they start. So, my office is really excited about taking this on, working with Ryan, working with Veterans Service, and just getting this off the ground and going and starting to support veterans in McLeod County.
Questions from the board?
We had this issue at our past workshop, and I was very impressed with the proposal at that point to continue to be. So just like Attorney Hench had read off, there's just additional stressors on our veterans, and we need to acknowledge that and support them in whatever way we can. So I'm 100% on board with supporting this. Make a motion to approve.
Motion made by Commissioner Wright to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Dahl. Discussion. I happened to have a meeting last night, and now that we're getting down the road, an idea, or I would like to get more information to our veterans organizations. I know you talked about it at the county organization, but I don't want to say it's complex, but there's a good support vision or team in here outside of even the training part. It's just a nice place to, especially for some of the young, I've said it before, we're having, a hard time getting young members to our veterans organization, but maybe this is a start just for some support or recruiting some mentors. But we tried to discussed it a little bit last night, so it'll be nice to get some more information when we complete all this. It'd be great, or even, you know, just a worksheet of what we can do. So, no, I think it's a great idea to support. There was some years back, with the number of suicides and everything, I mean, it's much needed no matter what avenue we take, and I think this is a great one as well, so. Any other discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thanks,
Thank you.
guys.
Thank you, board.
Thank you. And we will provide those materials that you can share with others. I imagine now, once we give the Veterans Court program word that we've passed this resolution in support, they'll be updating the materials to make sure that McLeod is featured in them more prominently, and then we'll get that information to you, because we could certainly use any help. You all know some veterans, you all know veterans that would probably serve well as mentors, so we'd ask that you help us recruit them, because they'll be very valuable in the success of this program.
And
Well,
I'm
and
more than
that's what I'm-
willing to come to the individual veteran service organization meetings and answer questions that
be
individuals might
great.
have at those meetings. Yeah.
I don't even know that, it's something that maybe doesn't even necessarily have to take questions. It's just like we did today, is just lay out the cause it is new, and I mean, if our own veterans know about it, it's something that they can talk with other veterans or veterans in need, that, you know, that they can, again, support is just the big thing. I mean, or if somebody stumbles, have somebody they can go to that won't be so judgmental. I don't wanna get too deep in it, but that would be.
That's absolutely the job of the mentor, is to be that person that the justice-involved veteran can reach out to if they're going through a tough situation, to talk things through, and the mentor is there to straight shoot them and give them honest feedback on that.
There's a lot more out there than a lot of people know about, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Public Works, Andrew, I know you've got some good news for us, I've seen it.
Yeah. A little later down the line here. Item A, consider approving change order number 1 for County Project CP 026000009, the countywide aggregate surfacing project at a cost of $2,890.80 with funds from the highway maintenance budget. This project was set up where all the aggregate the county would be hauling, the county would load out of the pit. We asked for a price from, why am I drawing a blank right now? From the contractor to see what it would cost to load the aggregate, have them load the aggregate. They gave us a price of 30 cents a ton, and it's about 9,636 tons, which gets you to the $2,890.80. We kind of did the math on this, and there's no way we could drive a loader up there, man the loader, and fuel the loader in the pit for that cost. So under this change order, the contractor would load all of our trucks that are hauling aggregate, and the price would cover all the costs of the loading operation, including but not limited to the labor, fuel, equipment, loader maintenance, and anything else associated with that.
Motion to approve.
Motion made by Commissioner Dahl to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Schmalz. Discussion.
I have a question.
Go
So
ahead.
so Broughton has their pile,
Yep,
and Silver Lake was supposed to get their pile?
yep. Broughton was hauled by the contractor.
So we haven't paid for any of that before. I mean, it wasn't.
No.
Okay. Okay.
I'm a little confused there, Lori, or
Yeah, so
Commissioner Schutzke.
the pile of gravel at Broughton, that was hauled by the contractor. And then this would be the gravel going to Silver Lake.
Yeah, yep, I know that. I thought we already approved the loads.
The board approved the contract for us to purchase the aggregate. This is a change order to have the contractor load our trucks.
Okay, so I think I was thinking it was all included in that first purchase price that we
Yes.
approved. I just wanted to make sure
Yeah.
that it was not, and we're not paying like an additional $3,000 on something that we'd
Correct.
already, okay.
Good question, Commissioner Cheska, because it's not, that's what makes it an add-on. I was not included in the,
Yep, we
In the
purposely
initial-
set the contract up so that we would load it, just for easeability, depending on who got the contract, if they had a loader in the pit or not, if they were manning the pit when we were hauling. They're hauling out of there every day of the week, and it works out to do this change order.
any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Item B, consider awarding project PK 5205-26005, the Lake Marion County Park Public Water Access Reconstruction Project to Jewel Underground LLC of Hutchinson, Minnesota at a cost of $309,197.15 with funds from the county parks budget and, which is actually through a grant with the DNR. In December of 2024, the county board approved this grant agreement with the DNR for a maximum cost of $425,000 to reconstruct the boat landing. The DNR has prioritized upgrading and reconstructing the lake access at Lake Marion. The upgrades include reconstruction of the landing, parking area, adding ADA accessibility parking, aquatic invasive species removal area, and stormwater treatment. The upgrades were a priority in the county parks plan. The engineer's estimate for this project was $428,948. We received 4 other bids. Sorry, my brain is other places this morning. Ranging from $399,433.93 to $545,763.52.
So the long and short of it is, it's below the engineer's projections.
Yep.
And we're responsible to pay it, but their money is refunded through the grant? Is that how
Correct.
it all works, right?
100%
That's what I
reimbursement through the
understood.
DNR, and we're under the grant amount, so we don't have to work with the DNR for amendment, looking for more money.
Well, that should relax a little bit of the other work they want to do
Yep.
there as well. Wishes of the board.
Move to approve.
Motion made by Commissioner Wright to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner Cheska. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Consider awarding state aid project SAP 043598016, the 43501 bridge replacement on County Road 57 over High Island Creek to Redstone Construction LLC of Mora, Minnesota at a cost of $1,090,461.75 with funds from the highway construction budget and the local bridge replacement program. So we received $884,742 from the local bridge replacement program for this project, which leaves the remaining $205,719.75 as the county share. We received 2 other bids for this project, ranging from 1.1 million or $1,147,476 to $1,163,394.95. The engineer's estimate was $1,109,226.
In case you were wondering, that's the good news I was talking about. It's not perfect, but the crunch time, I appreciate Andrew's hard work to get this going. And do you, if we approve this, do you expect to start this year yet?
Yep, later this month, I believe, trying to think of the dates here, in 2 to 3 weeks is what our contractual first start date is. So this project will run from the end of August through about Thanksgiving.
Very good. Wishes of the board.
So, Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
we've talked a lot about bridges, and a big thank you to Andrew for being able to crunch numbers to finally get one off the list, and we have several more to go, but at least we get one done. This will definitely make a lot of people very happy in Round Grove Township that are dealing with this bridge there, so I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion made by Commissioner Wright. Is there a second? I will second it. Discussion.
Is it a metal bridge or is it?
This is a three-span, slab span bridge, so it's concrete, cast-in-place concrete bridge.
Again, we got kind of behind a little bit, and then this is gonna give us, if for nothing, it'll make people happy in Round Grove Township and others, but it also, it gets us started. We have others on our list, and we're working on them, and I can't thank Andrew enough for his work on this, so. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you. I will note that at the next board meeting, there will be a grant agreement in front of the board to accept these funds. It's just the turnaround from bid opening on Thursday to today didn't allow us to get the grant agreement in front of you today.
Very good. County administration. Calendar time. I had, as far as meetings, somewhat of a short couple of weeks. I had my HRA board meeting on the 22nd. We discussed more housing, the cost of housing, and what we could do as far as doing what we are supposed to do to get affordable housing, and that's a real conundrum, because by the time we get done trying to make new housing, it's just not in the area where we would call it affordable housing. So, we're doing the best we can to add some HUD homes and different things like that. I also, after the last board meeting, we had our audit entrance. I don't know why it was called that, but we had our auditors go through, the state auditors go through with myself and the administrator and Colleen. Everything went well as far as audits goes. It's always spooky to go through all them numbers and try to remember just exactly what you did, but it went well, and I had the agenda review on Thursday, and then I had quite a bit of desk time, and we're starting work on CD 12. Had some issues out there, but and now we've had several inches of rain, but surprisingly enough, there isn't as much water sitting around as I thought there'd be. But that brings us to today, Commissioner Wright.
Yep. I think the basics for the past couple weeks, there's been some information coming in on adding benefits to a ditch system in District 3. There'll be some upcoming couple meetings on that. I think they're just getting the last of the details rounded up. Last week had some time spent on kind of reviewing some of the details with our county burial policy. There was an issue that came up, and a couple meetings kind of pulling that apart. Typically, I've only seen that for more of the a budgeting issue, not necessarily going through all of the mechanics of the steps of the policy. And I definitely do appreciate the Health and Human Services staff that really do pay attention to details. Every once in a while, there's one that doesn't quite fit, and it requires a little bit of a group discussion to work through it. And I think the issue was resolved. And then moving forward from that, yesterday did sit down with our GIS director, and GIS being a little bit more than just maps and sign placement. There's just a lot of data that flows through that department. A lot of records need to be taken, and expectations that are actually coming from the state, it seems, and maybe some realignment that needs to be done there. But we will be looking forward to a workshop focusing on GIS down the road, perhaps late fall, with everybody to see a little bit more of how that department seems to be continuing to change. So that's about it for me.
Thank you, Commissioner Dahl.
Yep, There's only 2 items that I've done. I attended the workshop after the last commissioner meeting, and then we had a safety committee on Wednesday, the 29th of July. And then, of course, I read the 162 pages to prepare for this meeting. So, other than that, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Dahl. I was on vacation the past 2 weeks, so my report is very short, and I don't have any meetings to report that I attended. But while I was on vacation, I did monitor my phone. I did answer some texts, and I made sure that, the things that I needed to take care of were taken care of while I was gone. So thanks the board for putting up with me in my absence. Appreciate the support you give me.
Mr. Chatzka?
After our last meeting, we had the workshop. The next day, on Wednesday, we had planning. You'll notice we didn't have anything today because Mark is out on vacation, so you'll see all that on the 18th, or at our next meeting. Yeah, the 18th. We just had a couple things. There's one kind of hot topic that we continue to deal with over and over with different permits and stuff, so you'll see that one next time. Then yesterday I had Supporting Hands in Olivia, and it's a nurse-family partnership. So what they do is they go out and help mothers while they're pregnant and up until a year after. Their caseload had been pretty low in the beginning of the year, but they said that that's taken off quite a bit. And one of the numbers, they always give us a caseload update for lots of counties, like maybe 20 that this reaches. And since 2010, when they had their first graduation, so when you get to that point where you outgrow the program, you graduate, and they've had 776 graduates since 2010. I think that's a really good number. And they do things like they get diapers sometimes through grants, and they have home visits, and they help you with things. And the things that people have said, they had a couple park meetups in the last quarter, and they said the education that they get, the mentoring, just the support that they get from these nurses that come in their house and help them throughout their pregnancy, and then for, that aftercare is so valuable to them that I just think it was a committee assignment of mine that definitely worth talking about. I mean, it's helping a lot of those people that need that help that maybe won't get it in other places. So, and just so you know, out of the graduates, McLeod County is number 3 out of that list of 20. We have the 3rd highest list of graduates behind Douglas County and Candy, Ohio. So that's all I've got.
Attorney's office?
Just a quick update. My office did have another jury trial last week. We successfully prosecuted a domestic assault. So there were 3 charges. There were guilty verdicts on all 3. So I just commend my office and that's one of my assistant county attorneys and support staff for doing a nice job on that, and for the victim for being willing to come in and cooperate and testify and hold the offender accountable. The other thing that we've spent a fair amount of time with in the preceding weeks, and the conversation's been going on for some months with Human Services and law enforcement, is on August 1st, there was a law change that went into effect that raised the age of juvenile delinquency from 10 to 13, meaning historically, children that committed criminal offenses could be charged starting at the age of 10 before. Now, obviously, that's not something that we want to do, but there's times where circumstances would dictate that 10, 11, or 12-year-olds would get charged with criminal offenses, sometimes serious criminal offenses, whether it's involve weapons or domestic assault or other assaults, threats of violence and the like. So now, or ever since August 1st, we can no longer charge, say, a 12-year-old that commits that type of offense. Law enforcement doesn't have the authority to take them into custody anymore because they can't be charged. So now, there will be instances where there's challenges where typically in the past someone may have been temporarily detained or if they needed to go to a detention facility for a night or two while things cooled off until a plan could be put in place. Some of those circumstances which were already challenging, will be more challenging because there will be fewer tools available to law enforcement and really to human services as well. So, obviously the goal is never to just, indiscriminately prosecute 10 to 13-year-olds anyway. That's not the goal of the juvenile justice system, but there's times that law enforcement or child protection encounter some pretty challenging situations. So we're working through that. We're working collaboratively through that. It takes ongoing discussions between law enforcement, human services, some of our other community partners, hospitals, the like. But I just want to put that on your radar because, a few tools were taken away. None were really added. And now we're left to sort through how to work through these situations. And typically a lot of times they come up in the middle of the night on a weekend or something, and there'll be on-call phones ringing and we'll be talking about it. But if you ever hear from your constituents about any of these challenges, I at least want it on your radar. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I'm sure, Tim, Barrett, myself, any of our police would be happy to kind of walk you through that. But just wanted to note that, we're working on it, and we'll kind of deal with the situations as they arise. But thank you.
Thank you, Attorney Hench. Sheila?
Thank you. I'll go to the agenda, item A, notification of board workshop following the board meeting on Tuesday, August 18, 2026, at the McLeod County Government Center, 520 Chandler Avenue North, Glencoe, Minnesota. That's all I have.
Any other business to come forward for the good of the county? Hearing none, open forum. Anybody wishing to address the board? Seeing none. No press relations. So I will look for a recess until our next McLeod County Board meeting at 9 a.m. on Tuesday, August 18th at the McLeod County Government Center, 520 Chandler Avenue North, here in Glencoe, Minnesota. Motion to recess by Commissioner Cheska. Seconded by Commissioner Schmalz. A discussion. Hearing none, we're adjourned. We are recessed. Excuse me. Yeah, 5 minutes and we'll start our workshop.